All right, the Minnesota Timberwolves lose to the Dallas Mavericks 120-114. Supposed to be a revenge game. It was not a revenge game.
Revenge.
Kind of ended the same way as game two with Luka hitting an impossible three this time. Just ridiculous. Feel bad for the Timberwolves fans. All of them out there. But a great game, a game nonetheless between two of the better teams, not just in the Western Conference in my opinion, but in the league as well. You know, just a quick breakdown of that. Anthony Edwards comes out firing in the first quarter. He has 24 points, man. Like, just completely on fire.
Just going off.
Just insane. And then also Julius Randle, like, not as impressive, but 4 assists, but only 1 shot. So, you know, doing what they brought him here to do, which is to get into paint and create shots for others. That, to me, I think if you were to ask any Timberwolves fans, is what they want to see from the Timberwolves was that first quarter, was Anthony Edwards leading the way and Julius Randle facilitating for others. So great start for the Timberwolves there. Ends up being 61-59 at half, and the rest is history with the Mavs. Mavs come out slow in the third quarter, but pretty much dominate the rest of the game. And to me, it's interesting seeing the score being 120-114 because, you know, these are two teams that have prided themselves on defense, and to me, that's what I took away from this game. Like, for both teams in general, it's like these two guys, they can't guard each other. Like, you know, the Timberwolves team last year, who was so predicated on defense, that was like their bread and butter, that was their identity, and they just couldn't do anything about Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving getting whatever they wanted. Towards the end of the game, they would run a pick and roll with Julius Randle's man, get Julius on Kyrie, and just Kyrie go to work. So exploiting that mismatch there. You know, and Julius isn't that bad of a defender, but they picked on him today. And as far as the other side with the Mavericks, I mean, the T-Wolves got into the paint whenever they wanted to. You know, Julius Randle was creating all day for the offense. I thought he played well. I thought he had a good floor game. But I don't know, man. Like, this Timberwolves team to me is just a completely different team than last year. I think it's one thing to lose playing your style, but I don't even know what their style is anymore. Kwab, what was your takeaway from this game watching it?
The stars showed up. That's what it was.
It felt like it was 2-on-2 at some points, right? Like Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle versus Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2-on-1.5, but I don't want to be disrespectful. It was like just the third quarter run where like Kyrie just went off for a couple of buckets and Luka like was just controlling the game at his pace like always. If those two are on, it's hard to beat them. It's just hard to beat them.
So what do you do?
And yeah, it's like it, and also like even though the numbers don't really show it, having Clay on the floor just you have to have a man attached to him on the side, so it just opens up the floor even more. The shot making in this game was ridiculous. I'll say that. That was like you said, Anthony Edwards was just going off the first quarter. I'm like, is he gonna get 50 like by halftime? Like what's going on? He ended up slowing down, but he still had a. If you look at the box score, he had an efficient game. Like overall, he had an efficient game. Yeah. Also, it's really nice to be young, because that man like it looked like he would be injured 1 second and he was like I'm good. Let me just shake it off.
My muscles regenerated.
Oh, he slid on the floor. It was almost like a half split. I was like, you look like he pulled a groin. He's like, I'm good. Yeah. And just kept playing. Yeah, I like what you said before. It's a completely different team when it comes to the Wolves. Like their identity was your defense, your size.
Yeah, their size. Yeah,
just size. Trading away Cat, you get Julius Randle, and he provides something different completely, especially on offense, because he's gonna look downhill. Like the first quarter, he was moving the ball, trying to get assists, but it's a different. It looks different when you have like, and you notice it now as a Knicks fan how Cat opens up the floor more from his position. Though you can play handoff from him like at the top of the circle or the top of the three, just because he's a threat out there.
Yeah.
So it's also a different offense on that side, but I still like the Wolves. I still like how they got in some of the actions. I like how aggressive like your bench was in terms of like Dante. Even Nickeil Alexander-Walker, I like what they have. I think it's gonna take time. Again, it's early. Like that's been my phrase I've been using every freaking episode we record so far. But I like some of the actions they get into. And on the other side with the Mavs, yeah, they look great. Like it's just if when all else fails, it's like they can go to Kyrie for like a tough three. They can go to
That's their
Luka
best
for a tough
offense,
three.
dude.
Yeah.
It's give it to Luka, give it to Kyrie, cook his ass. Go get him right now. Go at him. Like no dead ass. Like that's their best.
Cook them offense. Just cook them.
The cook 'em offense. That's what they run though. It's or they'll get someone in a situation like I said late in the game. We're gonna pick on Julius Randle, set a pick and roll. Okay, now I'm going to ISO on Julius, and it's for me, I'm someone who I like ball movement, right? Like the Warriors in their prime with the elevator screens and the split action. Like I love that crap. That's not the only way to play basketball. When I see isolation basketball and the cook 'em offense, to me it typically signals like, okay, this team doesn't really have chemistry. This team is going to run out of options late in games in the playoffs. But for the Mavericks, it's like you have Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic who can create not only for themselves, but for others as well. It's like, all right, maybe they don't need to run like complicated sets or crazy motion to deceive the defense or keep them on their toes. It's good enough just to have Luka bring up the ball, maybe get a mismatch, or not even just get a mismatch, just have him do his thing. Like, what's wrong with that? And he's such a good passer and such a good creator that it can work both ways. He can hit the shot, or he can find other players hit the shot as well. And I'm coming around to the idea of just like, that's the Mavericks offense, and no one can really stop it. I mean, not too many teams can really stop it. You can't. So it's interesting. And then on the other side, the Wolves, I like the Wolves offense. The only complaint I would have, there's two actually. One, I think they need a point guard. Mike Conley, they're not going to him as much. I think he's still serviceable, but he feels more like a backup right now. And they were using Dante to kind of bring up the ball today. Dante DiVincenzo's best off the ball, spot and shoot. Spot up shoot. For me, I just feel like I don't know what Rob Dillingham is doing on the bench in the sense of like, I don't know where he is with his progress, right? They know more than we do. Maybe he's just not ready. I don't know. He is a rookie. But I feel like they need to speed up the pace with him, put the ball in his hands, or just find another point guard at the trade deadline to actually run some offense. I just don't know who would be available. Because everything now, which is kind of like give it to Ant, and it's the cook 'em offense, or there's actually when the Ant has the ball, there's a lot of screens up top, and they're working with the pick and roll and other actions. But with Julius, I mean, he played well, but it mostly was him. It was 5 out, and the guy's just standing there and just all right. Julius is getting the paint, and just whatever he does, he does. And he's not Luka. He's not Kyrie. Like, he had a good game today, but you can't continually do that with Julius Randle and expect to be as successful as a Mavericks team that can do it with Kyrie and Luka. So the Wolves, to me, they have some holes to fill on offense, but I do like their offense in general. To me, it's just you've lost your identity. Like, you're not the same team. You're not as big. The perimeter defense still can be there, but it just wasn't good today, maybe because they were going against Kyrie and Luka. But, they still have good defenders. They still have good role players. I just think it's a little tweak. I don't think they're far off. I think it's just a little tweak. And I think right now the Mavs are just a little slightly better team, more continuity. I think acquisitions over the offseason that has helped them, and they've hit right in. So I think that's what we saw today. I mean, it's just two teams that really couldn't stop each other, and one just had better playmakers and better players at the other end.
Yeah, I agree with that. Also, I was going to add to that with the Mavs. They also feel like they have a really deep team in terms of like the players they can go to off their bench. I know Maxi Klebers, he was out, but still having to, like, we talk about the two bigs when we did our preview of the team, like having Lively and Gafford, but also, like you said, the offseason signing of Najee Marshall, getting your boy Quentin Grimes.
Good game from Quentin today.
Yeah.
He's had it rough until this game. He wasn't playing well from today. But you're right, though. Like, you have Clay, you have Marshall, you have Grimes, you have Dinwiddie if he gets hot. Like, you have different options at the wing position. Yeah,
so like it gives them options. But at the end of the day, like, you're gonna have to guard those two monsters. So if you're not stopping them, like it's gonna sometimes it just looks like that where like you play your best defense and there were a couple of times that happened in the course of the game where they were guarded really well, but it's just like, hey, take the step back, take that with you, man. So that happens in the course of a game when you have stars.
All right, well, that does it for this reaction. We will be back. I don't even know what's tomorrow. Did we agree to reactions tomorrow, Kwab?
Yeah, we because the Knicks are playing the Heat, so we're definitely having a reaction tomorrow.
Yeah,
we're definitely having a reaction tomorrow.
Every time the Knicks play the Heat, we have to have a reaction.
Just having a reaction tomorrow. I'm just disclaimer. I'm not a Heat fan.
God,
I'm just
all right. You might as well be.
No.
No, you might as well be. The way you talk about Heat culture, you might as well be.
No, I'm a Nets fan. We had a great game against the Nuggets. We played them well.
You lost.
Went to overtime and lost. That's going with the tank. That's exactly what you want. It just checks off all the boxes. Checks all
All
the
right, we'll see you
boxes.
tomorrow for Knicks Heat. Also, look out for our power rankings dropping Wednesday morning as well. You can argue with whatever you want to argue with because that's what our YouTube comments like to do, apparently. Until then, we'll catch you around. Peace.